Hello everybody, I'm JayLeonardJ. Today I'm going to go over the entire Revstar lineup from Yamaha and help you figure out which one is the right guitar for you. Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Revstar Day here, Yamaha Revstar. They just did a whole revamp of their entire lineup just this year, pretty much for the first time ever since they launched Revstar. I'm a longtime Revstar user, and I made a video comparing the new Humbucker Revstar to the new P90 for their standard series, and I got a couple questions from a lot of you asking me what the difference between all the different series is and all the different models they have, because there's like 3, and it gets a little complicated. There's like standard and pro and element, and there's P90 and Humbucker models, and which one is the better one and which one's like the starter model. It gets a little bit confusing. So what I ended up doing is I got my hands on all 5 of their new models, and I'm going to go through each one and kind of help you figure out which is the one that's going to fit your setting, what you're doing, what your sound is, and take your music to the next level. So we got 5 different Yamaha Revstars. Let's plug them all in and see what we can do. Well, when it comes to Revstar Generation 2, they definitely did simplify the whole thing a lot. It's not nearly as confusing with all these different models of pickups and like bridge options and stuff. It's down to just 3 different series of guitars. You have the Element series, which is their introduction model. You have the Standard series, which are these 2 over here. And finally, the Pro series, which is their premium Japanese model. So we're going to start off with the Standard series, right down the middle. It's a good jumping off point because I find the other 2 are just variations on the Standard. And they're in my hands right now, so a good place to start off with. Now, when it comes to Standard, they're both made in Indonesia, and there's 2 models to choose from. There's the Humbucker model, the RSS20, and finally the P90 version, the RSS02T. Look how pretty that thing is. Now there's different colors you could choose from, obviously, between these 2 models, and right now I have the Flash Green, which is this metallic-y looking thing with the racing stripes, and this one is the Hot Merlot, which is interesting because usually I like my Merlot room temperature, maybe with a prime rib or something like that. But let's get into the specs of this guitar. There is a maple top and a chambered mahogany body, and they used a computer to figure out how to best chamber this guitar to come up with a certain sound they were looking for. I don't know much about that, but I do know when you compare this with its predecessor, there is a very noticeable difference, at least for me, on the amount of clarity. This is a lot clearer, and this has a lot more definition. Whereas the older Revstars, to me, sounded like a really awesome 50 style Les Paul. This one is kind of its own thing. It really has a nice amount of note separation and kind of a Yamaha sound, I guess we're going to call it now. So even with the gain, you definitely hear that separation. It's a really lovely sound. With the neck, it definitely feels a lot faster than the older ones too. It's satin finish on the back, so it's very quick. It's more slim, and there's a 3-piece mahogany and a little like strips of carbon fiber along it to add stability, something I've never really seen before. And the one really neat feature I saw on this is stainless steel frets, and man, that's really cool. I've never really seen like a, you know, mid-range Indonesian-made guitar with stainless steel frets. They usually save that for the upper end models, but it's a really good thing, especially for people like me, super heavy-handed. Now, the Humbucker model has the two-nomatic bridge and some interesting electronics. In fact, actually, both models have the same electronics. There's a transformer in here, and the transformer changes the resonant frequency, makes it sound a little bit more woofy, a little bit more chunky would be the word, barky. Let's hear what it does. This is the bridge pickup. And this is with it on. And here's the gain. Oh, nice woman tone over there. There's also a 5-way switch, so you get your normal 3 positions, plus these really cool out-of-phasey-like ones. Here's the first one. Very, very nice stuff. This model has that nice little binding here too with the racing stripes. Looks like a motorcycle, funky stuff. There's a P90 version of the standard series. Again, it has a lot of the same features. In fact, pretty much everything except for 2 major things. The bridge is different. We have this floating bridge where you just string it through here. Has a nice little kind of effect too when you push down on it. And it has P90s, which is a gruffer sound. Again, it still has that little push-pull here for that little transformer, as well as the 5-way switch. On my lap is the RSE20. This is the Element series guitar in black. This is their introduction model. So it's much more pared down and actually has a lot of design features reminiscent of the previous Revstars as opposed to the new ones, which we'll get into in a little bit. They're all made in Indonesia, just like the standards, and it's also built very, very well. But you can tell there's definitely some places where they just kind of trim the fat. So there's no binding on the body. There's no binding on the neck and headstock. The inlays are different too. You have the more classic dot inlays, as well as standard frets, not stainless steel. There's no carbon fiber on the neck, but you do have the same matte finish in the back, and the neck profile feels almost identical to standard. In fact, I feel the neck profiles on all the new Revstars pretty much feel bang on the same. So it's a very similar playing experience as you go up the lines. Now it has a mahogany body, but no maple cap neck, so it's all mahogany, and it is chambered. If you're wondering about weight, all the Revstars I have are actually around the same weight. They're about 8 pounds, so it doesn't matter if it's the cheapest one to the Pro. They all kind of fit in around that same window, around 8 to 8.5 pounds. The pickups are different here, and as well, this has a Tunomatic, but the actual Tunomatic bridge is a little bit different. Higher saddles. It seems a little bit cheaper made than like the more premium looking ones that you'll see in the other models as well. And overall, the guitar just seems warmer and smoother. I don't know if it's the pickups or what's going on here, but it definitely is a warmer sound. Let's go turn on the gain. Very lovely 3-way switch, so it's not 5-way. You get the more classic switching here. And we have a different response with the push-pull knob. This is actually more reminiscent of the older Revstars in that where the new ones, when I pulled up the switch, we got like this transformer, which gives it like this meteor tone. This is the opposite. It actually rolls off some of the lows. It's very subtle, but you can definitely hear it, and it just tightens up the sound of the guitar a little bit. Let's hear what it does. You could really hear it with gain and the bridge pickup. Now with the RSE, you can tell there is only a humbucker model. So if you do want P90s, you do have to go up to the next series. But overall, if you want just a nice introduction to Revstar, this might be the place to go. Last but not least, if you want the best, this is it right over here. This is the flagship series of Revstar, the top of the mountain, the Pros. We have two Pro models, the RSP20, which is their humbucker model, and their RSP02T, which is their P90 model. Now, there is a lot of similarities between Pro and Standard, and really what you're paying for is the Japanese manufacturing of it. It's a little more costly to make things in Japan, and they're made to just really, really tight tolerances, and it is a premium experience when you actually get one in your hand. But the similarities are actually quite a lot. There's a lot of similarities between Standard. They have the maple cap neck, the chambered mahogany, the mahogany neck 3-piece with the carbon fiber, even the electronics and the pickups, they're pretty much exactly the same, stainless steel frets, but you can tell that the wood here is just really nice, beautiful slabs of rosewood they have on both of these guitars. And if you even look at the back of the neck, they actually use a little bit more of a transparent finish, where the other ones are like a matte black. Here you could actually see the grains really pronounced on the back, which just adds to that experience of playing the guitar. There's subtle little things I'm also noticing too. There is a metal backplate to cover the control cavity, a little bit of an upgrade over the plastic ones you'll see in the Standard and Element series. And there's also 2 strips of carbon fiber in the body. Now the Standard one has the carbon fiber on the neck, and this one has it on both the neck and a strategic part of the body. Now speaking of the overall body and neck connection, this does get the IR8 A treatment, which is like this resonance treatment that they do to it. Sort of like how people would like put their acoustic guitars in front of a stereo system to kind of make all the pieces mold and gel and vibrate together as one. They do the same things with these guitars. So the Pros out of the box should sound quite broken in and ready to rock and roll. This is the P90. It's called Swift Blue as the color of it. I think it looks really cool. And it's actually Swift Blue, I feel, is the only color you're going to see in every single lineup of Revstar. And it's because it looks nice. Here's what it sounds like. Lovely, lovely guitar. Let's hear the Humbucker model, the RSP20. This one has a really cool burst on it. This is Moonlight Blue, and it's a really neat way to do a burst where it's actually like a horizontal burst. It's dark, and then it gets light. They have a couple other bursts like this, and I just think it looks fabulous. Again, the Humbuckers, everything is just spot on, wonderful stuff. Well, that is it. That is the video. Thank you all so much for watching. Please subscribe to the page if you haven't done so already. Check out the links in the description below. And if you want to hear all my reviews on all the stuff I demo on the page, check it out on Patreon. I do all my reviews on Patreon, sponsored by the Patreon supporters, and all my demos and tutorials, everything else, it's right here on YouTube. Now, my question for the subscribers today is, of the 5 Revstar models, if you had to pick one, or if one would probably fit your needs in terms of wallet to like performance ratio, which one is the one you would probably leave with? Write it in the comments section below. That being said, I'll see you all soon. Take care and goodbye.